Is that rolling, Hodge? Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
So welcome everybody to Sikh class. Today what we're going to do is introduce the Soya Pauri. So we'll do 2 Pauriyan today, but the first part of what we do will basically cover off the sort of background that then is applicable to all 4 Pauriyan. So having done today, the next 2 sort of next time should be a little bit quicker to cover off. So before we sort of get into the detail of Pauri 8 and 9, just a very quick recap about what we talked about last time, which was Pauri 7. So
okay, yeah. So what we'll try and do is we'll try and do these synopsis sheets for the previous 6 Pauriyan, and going forward probably for Pauri 8 to 11 altogether. It brings it together a little bit in one slide. So Pauri 7 we spoke about. We'll stop. So Pauri 7 spoke about mankind's desire to want to live forever, and the Pauri, as you know, starts with Je Juk Jare Arja, and we discussed how long each jog was, and if Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying that age, rather than a long life, a fruitful life, a safal jivan is better than a long life, yeah? But people want to desire a long life, but a life devoted to Naam is more fruitful. So it went on to talk about man, in addition to wanting long life, wanting luxuries in life, wanting fame in life, wanting to be famous, wanting to be known across the globe. And all of these things, Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, were unimportant without Naam. Only to go on to say that the real data is Waheguru, and Waheguru gives us everything. And they went on to say that without the nadar, what would nadar mean? We talked about the word nadar. Anji? Grace, good, yeah, grace. Without Waheguru's grace, it didn't really matter if you had all of those previous things. So Je Juk Jare Arja Ho Disuni Hoy Nama Khandam Vijaniya Naal Chale Sab Koi Changa Naw Rakhaye Ke Jas Kirat Jagle Je Tis Natna Aave Tavat Na Puche Ke. Yeah, so all those people, all those virtues are worth nothing without Waheguru's nadar. Yeah, and all the goodness that is given to humanity is from Waheguru. So that was a quick pull together of what Pauri 7 was. And we thank you for the presentation last time, which was on Karm, which sort of filled in a little bit of the previous Pauri where we touched upon Karm, but probably didn't go as deeply as we should. So hopefully you've seen the video on Karm and the last session as well. So today we'll start on Pauri 8 and 9. And then next time we'll do 10 and 11. So, opening question. What does Pauri 8 to 11 talk about? What is the central theme of Pauris 8 to 11?
Listening to voices.
Listening, yeah. So saying listening, yeah. Listening, and then we'll probably go deeper into listening to what. So these are some starting points that we've put on here. So we said, firstly, what is the importance of listening? And when we ask that question, we can probably ask that generally in life, not just necessarily in religion and spirituality, but we'll bring it to spirituality and religion as well. So the importance of listening. At school, the teachers tell you to listen. And at home, when your mum's called you for your roti about 6 times and you're not listening, you probably get told it's good to listen. Yeah? So what should we listen to? Yeah, that's the next question. What should we be listening to? And the talk that is repeated here, Nanak Bhagtan Sada Vikas, it talks about the state of mind of Bhagts. And why does the state of mind of Bhagts differ to normal mankind?
So the essence of these sets of Pauriya is that the drawback that we come back to, or the central point that we come back to, is that through listening, fundamentally our lives change, or our lives can change. So it's the transformational impact that listening to Naam can have on our lives. So that's the central theme that's repeated 4 times.
Okay, shall we start? What we'll do is we'll do the part of probably all 4 Pauriyan as we normally would do before we start the body, yeah? So we'll start here. Once the screen's on, yeah? And we'll say them all together. We'll get to the end and then we'll begin to look at the body itself, yeah? So look all together then. Sunne Sidhi Sunatha Sunne Tattavakas Sunne Dibalo Bardan Sunne Boina Sakekar
Nanaka Bhatas Sunne Duk Papanas Sunne Isa Brahma Indra Sunne Muksala Hanumanda Sunne Jog Jutam Veda Sunne Sada Srimad Nanak Bhakta Sadavidas Sunne Duk Papkanas.
Sorry, keep going.
Dukyan Sunne Aksat Kaisman Sunne Par Pariman Sunne Lage Sejtyan Nanak Bhakta Sadavidas Sunne Duk Papkanas Sunne Sarakana Kedas Sunne Sri Khasa Sunne Ande Pahera Sunne Hatho Vesa Nanak Bhakta Sadavidas Sunne Duk Papkanas.
Okay. Back to the slides. Okay. The importance of listening then, yeah. So within those 4 Pauriyan, Maharaj keeps referring to and goes back to Sunaya. The Apakosh Sonaya, what is that? And what is the benefit, and we heard what is the transformation that happens within a person, a soul, on listening, on Sunaya. Yeah? So the importance of listening, within Bani, within Sikhism, son, to listen, is given a very high point, almost the highest point, as the way to get close to Vaheguru. So listening is important.
Okay, so just to sort of emphasise that point, think about the order in which these Pauriyan appear, because once we've done these 4, there's a set of another 4 Pauriyan which are about belief, manne. So Maharaj is instructing us that the first step in all of this is actually to listen, is to hear, and to make that distinction between listening and hearing. So we can all listen, but do we actually hear it? Do we actually understand? Does it actually penetrate us? So that's the importance here, that Maharaj is actually saying that the first step, if you like, is to actually listen, even before you start believing.
Okay, so there's an importance attached to listening, which we'll come to, and there's also then a transformation or a change in people, and those people that listen with the right attention, yeah, which is people that are known as bhakts. So we'll come on to that. So, how do people try and talk about listening? How do people worship God in different ways? Now, in the first body, we talked about how people either did Dira Shnan, or they try to remain quiet, or they try to enjoy life, and thought that was the way to fulfill themselves and then get closer to God. But the body is made up of 5 elements. Yeah. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji says, Panch Tat Ko Tan Rachyo Jano Chatur Sujan. So it says the body is made up of 5 elements. What are those 5 elements?
Can we remember? I think we covered it off time before last.
Earth, fire, air, water, ether.
Earth,
Fire, air, water, ether.
ether. Ether ki hunda?
Space.
Space. Okay. So the body is made up of those 5 elements. And because man is that body on the outside and a man on the inside, people have tried to use one of those elements to get close to God. So I've got a slide here which sort of says if those are the 5 elements, and instead of ether we use sky, or the space in between, yeah? what you have is the 5 elements.
So just to reiterate that point, in time, over history, people have believed that by being close to one of these elements, that you can get close to Waheguru. That's the important bit here. So accessing a particular element or getting close to the element means that you can get close to Waheguru because everything emanates from Waheguru. That's the idea. So we'll go through each one of these now.
Okay, so if we start with water, the body is predominantly made up of water. I don't know what percentage, but
70%.
somebody who's done science will tell me. So because the body is predominantly made of water, a lot of people went about with the idea that the way to get closer to God was to use water as a means to get closer to Waheguru. So going to Tirthas, going to places of pilgrimage and bathing, and people bathe morning, noon and night, in the belief that it would cleanse the soul, that would get them closer to Waheguru. So one of the tat, or one of the elements that the body is made of was water, and therefore people started to do going to Tirthas, bathing at holy places. So that was the first. The second one of those is the earth. And what's the earth made up of? What's in your gardens? Soil. Yeah. What else is like soil? What's in your house you have to clean up every week? You Mr. Sheen? Dust. Yeah. So all these bits are just elements that make up earth, soil. But we say earth, we can talk about dust equally. And in many religions you will see people bowing down, touching their forehead on the earth.
So one example that I think we gave previously is how Muslims they pray. The prayer that they use is called sajda. So that going down on all fours and bowing to the ground is called sajda, and that's how they worship. The belief is that by being closer to the earth is that you are then closer to Waheguru, to Allah, as they would say. Yeah. That's the central belief behind that. But similarly, often when you go to a Gurugar, you'll see people will wipe as they say, the dust of the Sangat onto their forehead as well. Because again, the belief would be that dust is blessed through the Gursikhs that have entered the Gurugar.
So water and earth are 2 ways, and the other third method that the body is made up of is fire. Now, sometimes you often think, why does my body get so hot? Why did I feel cold at times? But within us is fire. The heat we feel in our bodies is a fire, because we are made of the Panch Tat, and Maharaj tells us that the body is made up of 5 elements, and one of those elements is fire. Now, an old belief in India is a worship called tapasya, and people would do tapasya by giving themselves hardship to make themselves feel they would get closer to God. And what they would often do is in the midst of the hottest summer months, Jade, Har, June, July to us, and August, people would light fires and sit in the middle of that fire. So you've got the heat of the fire around you, you've got the heat of the soil below you because of the sun, and then the sun beating down on you. And they would try to meditate in that hard environment. And they called it tapasya, a penance almost, to get closer to God. So that was another way of getting closer to God. Now in Sikhi there's probably some elements of that, but they're not the predominant or the main tat that we feature on. Which tat do you think Guru Nanak Dev Ji attaches importance to?
Or probably the most important step.
So he puts the answer up. So there's no reason why you shouldn't know. So which tat did Guru Nanak Dev Ji give prayer? Hanji? Air. Okay. What do we call air in Bani or in Punjabi?
Think about the slok.
Pawan. Yeah. So Pawan is air. Now when we speak, we fill our diaphragms. When we sing, we fill our diaphragms, and then we project our voice, which is air, and through our throats and whatever other methodology, through our tongues and our mouth, we project a sound. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji promotes air as the element which allows man to get close to Vaheguru or meet with Vaheguru. So when we talk about Shabd, the Shabd is made from air. We project the Shabd through air. So whether we're doing Part, whether we're singing, whether we're doing Simran, it's air that's passing through. So that's the starting point. Now, that's when the ears are hearing it. Eventually, holy people will tell you that there becomes a point where the Shabd becomes anhad. It's not struck anymore. It's not made through a sound or by hitting an instrument. It's inside you. Yeah? And those people that have merged with God, they have an anhad beat inside them. The sound vibrates within them without them saying anything with their mouths, without them singing, without them playing an instrument. Yeah? So Guru Nanak Dev Ji talks about air as that element that will help mankind get closer to Vaheguru. I'll give you some of the answers to this already. So what should we listen to? What should we be listening to? Hanji. Sorry, Bani. Sorry. Who agrees? Should we listen to Bani? Only you two agree. Anybody else agree? Okay, now everybody agrees. Yeah. Paul, apart from Bani?
Simran.
Simran. Paul? Oh, sorry. Come on. You got two.
All of the good things that we should be listening to.
Gatha. Oh, I like that one. Hanji. Paul?
Andy.
Kirtan.
Kirtan.
Yeah. I didn't hear that.
He was going to say Kirtan as well.
Kirtan as well. Kirtan is good. I think we got most of those, didn't we?
Yeah.
These are all some of them. So Naam, Shabd, Bani, Simran, Katha, Kirtan. It's our diet for our body. Yeah? So, when we say we should be listening, what's the first one we put there? All together? No. Because when we hear the four Sunaya Pauringa of Japji Sahib, during Guru Ram Das's time, the Sikhs went to Guru Ram Das Ji and they asked a question. They said that when Guru Nanak Dev Ji says Sunaya Siddhapi Surnath and then the other four Pauringa, what is it that we should be listening to? And Guru Ram Das Ji said that the answer to all of those, and they've then written some shabds in Sarang Rag in four different Pauringa, and we'll look at one of those, which says nothing more than Naam. Everything that we say we should be listening to is Naam. Now, whether we sing Naam to Kirtan, whether it's Bani when we sing it, whether it's Katha, whether it's Simran, whether it's Part, we are singing it or saying it. But what the ears listen to it. But it's all Naam in different formats. So it's Naam, but in different formats. So the body says, Nai suniye sab siddh hai, rid piche aave. So you'll see the meanings in this are very similar to the four Pauringa and some of the things. So when we talk about those four Pauringa, it's about listening to Naam. So whichever format, we must listen to Naam.
So Guru Ram Das Ji is actually using the word Nai as the representative of Naam, or the name, as we would say.
Yeah.
And that's then repeated.
So as well as getting Riddhinga Siddhinga, Nai Suninge, Non-Nid Mile. Yeah? The Non-Nid, the 9 treasures, I think I had a slide on which came on accidentally before we started. But the nine treasures, spiritual treasures that people are after, come only through Naam. You can't go to the shops and buy those. They come from Nai Suninge. Yeah? And then remember, Gaviye, Suninge, and then there's a next part to this, which is the four Pauringa after, which is the Mannan, the believing and the accepting. Yeah? And Maya does not affect you. So if you go through the rest of the body, you can just say, by hearing the Naam, you get things. You get Santok, contentment. Yeah? What else do you get? Sage, peace, intuitive peace. And all these things exist within Gurmukh and Gurmat. So, when we say when we talk about these 4 Pauriyan, we're talking about listening to Naam. Whether that Naam is in the format of Part, whether it's the part of Shabd, whether it's in the form of Kirtan, the more we listen to Naam, the closer Guru Nanak Dev Ji says we get to Waheguru. For the biologists amongst us, what is the function of ears? Oh, it's gone quiet now. What are your ears for? To put your headsets on. No, to put your phone on.
Your glasses.
Eaten by predators.
Stop eating my friend. Hanji, to hang your glasses on. Chalo dasso. What are ears for? Go and tell in your sense of to listen. We said it. What is the function of ears? The function of ears is to listen. Now, who doesn't answer all of it? You do. I know you do. You do non-sab as well.
Yeah, they do.
So what did Guru Amar Das Ji say that these ears are here for? Why are they attached to our body?
I remember that book name in non-stop.
Okay. Guru Maharaj Ji says, another name for ears, apa kan kaida no? But the other word is sarvan, to listen. And the things that we use to listen are sarvana. So, Sravano Mereo, my ears. Why have you been attached to this body? Satya Sonane no patai. Not to hang your glasses on, yeah? Not for other things. You can use them for that. But the real spiritual use of ears is not to listen to Nindya, not to listen to your best Beatles tracks or your whatever Ghana you listen to these days, yeah? Your Bhangra tunes, yeah? I have to commute with people my own age as well. Es Ravno Mereo Satya Sonane no Patai. You're here to listen to the truth, and Bani is truth. Yeah? Satya Sonane no Patai, Sarir Lae Sunaho Sat Bani. One of the words we used was Bani for Naam. So they are there to listen to Bani. And those that use them to hear Bani, yeah, Jit Suni Manatan Haraya Hoa. What happens to their mind? It's rejuvenated. We talked about transformation, yeah? It rejuvenates the mind. Rasana Rasamani, yeah? And then the tongue joins in helping us listen. Such a lakh badanita ki gat kahi na jaye. Yeah? Kahe Nanak Amrit Naam Sunho Pavittar Hovo. Satya Sunane no Patai. So when next time I put this question up and say what is the function of ears, what are you going to tell me? Hanji. To listen to Naam. Yeah? That's all there is to it. But it's so important. Maharaj has taken 4 Pauriyan to explain that Bani Sonni Jaydi hai.
Yeah. The other way you can also look at why your ears are important is when we do Naam Simran, what we need is poise, is takar. Now, the biologists amongst us will tell us that ears play a very important part in keeping us balanced. Without that balance that ears give you, you'd be like this all over the place. You'd feel as if you were about to fall over in one direction. So your ears not only help you listen to Bani and Part, but once you've actually heard it, it also helps you then, or they help you to then remain in that equipoise, that surge of Avastha that we've just talked about.
Okay, so just coming back to this question, what is the function of ears? And we've said from a spiritual point of view, it is to listen to Naam. The ears play a huge part in that. Now, why do they play a huge part? Now, let's just think of sound then. So when sound comes to your ear, where does it go after it hits your ear? Hanji, that's great. What happens to sound when it hits your ear? Actually, I thought that might be coming. And fear?
Into your inner ear.
And then?
Cochlea.
And fear? It's a cockier answer.
Brain.
Go on. Okay. But then where does it go? What do we do with that sound? Into your brain. Yeah. So there's a process by which sound enters the ear and goes into the body and we do something with it. Now similarly, when we listen to Naam, the Naam enters in the form of sound, goes into all those places Jaspreet just said, and then goes to your brain, and it should eventually go to your man and your soul. Yeah? It's similarly like saying, when somebody eats some food, now, if I gave you some food, and you put it in your mouth, and you spat it out, it's not going to do you any good. Normally we'll eat a meal, we'll eat food, and what does that food give us? What do we have to do to it first? Swallow it. And then the bodily functions take part and take the goodness out of that food and converts it into what? What does your food get converted into? In between. And energy, or what flows through our veins and things? Blood, yeah. And what does blood carry? Oxygen, yeah. And blood also carries carbon dioxide back the other way, I believe. Yeah. But there's a function the body has which converts food into energy and it disposes what it doesn't need. Okay? But the mind also needs feeding. So Bani goes into the mind and it nourishes the mind. And that's the bit that we'll come on to. How does Bani nourish the mind? Yeah? And why are bugs different? So, said before, the Naad, the sound, becomes anhad inside. You don't have to say it anymore. Those people that do Simran will say they do Simran, and then when they stop doing Simran with their mouth and they're walking around in the rest of the day, that sound, without being struck by their mouth, continues within them. Anhad, without being struck. So that's what the function of ears is according to Bani. Now, to prove why Maharaj and Guruji says that Bani and listening to Bani through the ears is important and almost paramount, they equally say that ears that don't listen to Bani, what should we do with those? What should we do? What does Maharaj say we should do with ears that don't listen to Bani? Anji?
May as well just be
Plugged up, yeah. Yeah? You might as well, like, you know, when you go to a foundry and they have the hot metal, so you might as well just pour hot metal and plug up your ears, because listening to anything else is not important. So, yeah, Rasana, Karana Sunhi Naad, those ears that don't listen to the Naad of Vaheguru or the Shabd or the Naad, yeah, you might as well block those up. So the main theme.
So, we've talked about the transformational impact that listening to Naam Bani has on us. And what we'll do, we'll actually start talking, a bit like we've done with previous Pauri. The nature of the body we'll lead with. And in this case, that nature is Nanak Bhagtan Sada Vikas, Sunye Duk Bab Ka Nas. So, we talk about what the outcome is first. What is the nature, if you like? What is the result of listening? What does it give you? And what does it give bugs, first of all? And the reason why we start with talking about bugs is because they're the exemplar. They're the individuals, the people that we should aspire to. They're the ones who have done it. So Maharaj is using their example to say, well, this is where Naam, listening to Naam, takes them.
Okay. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Nanak Bhagtan Sada Vikas. What did we say Vikas means? It's on your glossary.
Vikas?
Bliss. Vikas means bliss. Another word? Joy. Joyful.
Yeah, joyful, yeah.
So it says Nanak, Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Nanak Bhagtan Sada Vikas. Sada means? Okay, are we happy sometimes? And then something bad happens.
So this is the difference between the Bhakt that Guru Nanak Dev Ji is talking about and a mere mortal. Now the mere mortal will have ups and downs. Yeah, you'll have good days, bad days, happy days, not so happy days. But Maharaj is making a distinction here by using the word sada. So Maharaj could be sat on a tatti tavi, Guru Arjan Dev Ji could be sat on a tatti tavi, but their man is in bagas continually because they've reached that point where it doesn't matter, that they will continually, physical ailments, physical hurt doesn't enter it anymore. That's the reason why this distinction is made. So the human form, or the average person's form, is one of ups and downs, sometimes happy, sometimes not so. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying that the bhagats remain in sadavigas, in continual happiness, joyfulness.
Okay. So if you think of Bhai Mani Singh being cut limb by limb, but because Bhai Mani Singh is a bhakt, is a Brahmgyani, he's unaffected by the pain, he remains happy. Yeah? Got the other Shaheeds as well, with Guru Dev Bahadur Ji. Yeah? They remain in Vigas, they remain forever blissful. They don't have those ups and downs that normal people have.
So it then sort of begs the question, well, why are these bhagats? So we get the bit that they've listened and they're now in Vigas and remain in Vigas. But what is it that's happened to them that then gives them that power, that ability to remain in Sadavigas?
Okay, so Nanak Bhakta Sadavigas. Why? Because Sunay Dukh Papakanas. Because by listening to Naam, two things are removed. Dukh, and Pap, Kanas. So by its very nature, that means that bhagats must be minus of Dukh and Pap. That within them there is not Dukh and there's not Pap. So when Bhai Mani Singh is being cut by limb, or Bhai Dayalaji is being boiled, and Bhai Mati Das is being sawn, why do they not feel pain? Why do they not feel Dukh compared to normal men? It's because the Bhakta Vaheguru are Sada Vigas, because they are minus of Dukh and Pap. And that only happens when they listen to Naam.
The reason why Dukh happens, I would like to talk about that at this point. The reason why Dukh happens is because in the natural law of Vaheguru is if we inflict Dukh on somebody else, that Dukh will eventually come back to us, eventually. Either in this life or in our next life, or the life after that. So this idea is that we can't ever get away from our dharma, yeah? No matter how much we try. It's only through the grace of Vaheguru that Maharaj can actually bless us that those barbs can be removed. Now, when we do bad things to other people, we create pain for other people. And it's only when we realise that this idea of creating pain is a sin and that we shouldn't do it, is that then we become free from it. And these bhaktas that Maharaj is referring to here have actually reached that stage. They've realised that if I do wrong unto somebody else, that's going to come back and boomerang back to me. And that is the essence of this Dukh, that by becoming realised, or when you become aware that your actions do matter, is that's when you then take that first step, if you like, of bhakti.
So if you remove Pap from your own life, then the Dukh won't come in by its very nature, because you're not causing Dukh. So you do find in life that somebody's done something bad against somebody, then see people are wanting to cause pain back to other people, where the bhakts will actually say, okay, if you're doing that, I'll let you do it, because you're building your own garden. Yeah? Okay, there comes a point when sants and Mahapurushas will take a stance against such people, but on the whole, if saints are being slandered, they normally say, doesn't matter. Or if people are doing bad things. Yeah? So it's like when Sulhi Khan wants to attack Guru Arjan Dev Ji, and people are saying to Guru Arjan Dev Ji, Sulhi Khan is coming with an army to attack you. And Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, Main sab ke chhod Prabhu tum hi te aaya. Now I've forgotten everything else, but I'm just going to worship God. And Sulhi Khan falls from his horse. He's dragged by the horse and he's killed. So these people who try to cause pain to other people, in the end, they just make that barb becomes a dock for them. So we have to realize that in our lives, and this body, 4 times in body 8 to 11, we focus on this. And this is why Guru Maharaj has dedicated 4 bodhigas and used these words repeatedly. Nanak Bhagta Sada Vigas. Why? Because Sunay Dukh Pap Ka Nas. They have Pap and Dukh removed. They remove Pap because they listen to Nam, and Nam tells them, Pap come on Ani Hega. Don't gather Pap, because Pap leads to Dukh. Dukh leads to worry. Yeah? And that circle of forever being in pain because you're in Dukh. So the nature of this body, yeah, is all about bhagats, and those people that worship Vaheguru by listening to Nam, yeah, they are free from pain and bab. So, is this repeated anywhere? We often say that what's in Japji Sahib is repeated elsewhere in Bani. And sometimes when we do this, we're trying to use examples that are forever close to us. Now, every day we do Anand Sahib. And we do Anand Sahib in the morning, and we do Chair Body of Anand Sahib within Vera Sahib, yeah? But in Anand Sahib, in our final body, we get lots of answers. We get a repeat of this Nanak Bhagta Vigas, Sunay Dukh Papa Ka Nas. Now you tell me where this is by saying the following body. Chalo. Anand Suno. And again, now some light. Anand Suno. Par Brahm Prapaya Uttare Sagal Vasure. So stop there. Uttare Sagal Vasure. What does that mean? If something's uttar, what happens? Utar daiye.
Bakar uttar gaya. What's happened? You've overcome it?
It's been removed, yeah? So Par Brahm Prapaya Uttare Sagal, all Vasure, all sorrows. Nanak Bhagta Sada Vigas Sunay Dukh Pap Ka Nas means the same as Par Brahm Prapaya Uttare Sagal Vasure. What happens? All together again? And again. What does the 4 bodhis focus on? So when does Dukh, Rog and Santap uttar? When we Suni Sachi Bani. And time and again, not only in those 4 bodhis as Maharaj mentioned this, in Anand Sahib, in this body again, Dukh, Rog, Santap uttar. When we Suni Sachi Bani. And guess what? Nanak Bhagta Sada Vigas is now repeated in a different format, and it says, all together, why are the saints and their friends, those close to the Gurmukhs, why are they always in ecstasy, in bliss, in Anand? Santa Sadhan Payasar se Pure Gutte Jani, because they have listened to it, yeah? And what happens? Sunte Punita, Kate Pavita, Satgure Hapur Pure. Benavant Nam Guru Charan Lage, Pajay, Anhad Ture. Yeah? The vibration, the unheard sound inside them happens. So listen to Bani, and this is why the 4 bodhis are very important. Yeah? We say them, but the last 2 lines are the meaning. But when we ask the question, what does doing Nam give you? Now, when we go through the bodhis now, we're going to go through what you get spiritually. Yeah? You want to break now? Yeah? Okay. So we'll break a little bit earlier than normal. Yeah? But when we come back, we'll start to look at the meanings of the individual bodies. Yeah? Tiga, any questions before we break? Yeah, Tiga. Okay. Sonia Bodinga. It's the importance of listening. So we've just said about, so we've said why it's important to listen, and we have some people on the same wavelength. So it's not only what we listen to, equally important is how do we listen. Yeah? So when we talk about listening to Nam, you can say the whole world is reciting Naam, whether it's in a different religion, whether it's ours, yeah. But what we have to be mindful of is how and what is the state of mind. Now, what follows these four Sunne Pauriyan is the Manne Pauriyan. So, to man is to believe or accept something, but it's your mind that has to accept it, not your body, not your eyes, not your ears. It's your mind. So the goal here is to get from listening, which is an enabler, to get to your man. It's the man that we have to win. And I was just thinking now in the break that next month when we do the two remaining Sunne Pauriyan, before we start on the Manne Pauriyan, I think we probably want half a session on what is man. Yeah? There's so many shabds in Bani which refer to the man. Yeah? I often say we're not a sarir, we're not a tan or a body. That's the outside. The real us is the man inside. Yeah? Guru Amardas Ji's shabd man to jot saroop hai apna mool pashan. That you are the light of Vaheguru in you. We just don't recognise it. And shabds like that, and how many times in Slok Mahalla Nama does Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji refer to man? Yeah? And in Bani Maharaj refers to us as man all the time. So man is where we're going, but this is now the next part before we move on to the look at the up. We probably could have done it before the break, but how should we listen? How should we listen? Now I'll say that, now I'll give an example. In our jobs we used to drive a lot, and also when you talk to people sometimes, and I sometimes talk to my kids, or they're talking to me, and then they'll say, what did I say? And you said, I didn't hear because I wasn't really listening. Because your mind is somewhere else. And they'll do the same to me, and I'll say such and such and such. And what did I say? I don't know. I was thinking about something else. So sometimes our man, even though our ears have heard the words, our mind and then our brain doesn't process it because we haven't listened to it with the eye. So when we listen to Shabd, when we listen to Bani or Naam, the basis is, and you know what it's like, you know, we've all been there. We sit down with the best intention of doing part, having full focus and concentration, and then all those worldly things that are going on in your life, they start coming in the back of your mind, and you fight them some more. But it's a reality, and it is something that you have to conquer, and it is about conquering the man, because the bugs have done it, and we'll come on to that. So how should we listen? In Sukhmani Sahib, Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, Prabhu ki ustat karo sant meet. How? Savdhan ekagar cheet. What you have to do with total concentration and focus. And the example I was going to, I've often been on the motorway, meaning to come off at junction 10 or another junction when I'm going somewhere, then realise I've missed the junction I was supposed to be coming off because probably I'm on the phone to somebody and you're talking about something else. Done it? Yeah? And you do it, and it happens, and with Bart, we can't allow in our Bani that to happen. We can't allow our mind to wander, yeah? Because mind does wander.
Yeah. But by the same token, what we can't afford to become frustrated at that and think it's anyhow that we'll never be able to conquer our mind. Because like with everything else, and Sikhi is no different, Sikhi is about practicing. Sikhi is about doing it repetitively. The whole idea of Netname is net karna. We're going to do it all of the time. And the acceptance is that we aren't always going to get it right. And that's why we have to practice. That's why we have to do it repeatedly. So don't get frustrated that Sadaman Tekadani, because often Sikhs of the Gurus came to the Guru and said Sadaman Tekadani, Bani te Sadaman Tekadani. And Guru Maharaj used to congratulate them to the point where they used to say, well, I congratulate you because you want to do that. And often things that we want, we eventually get. We get to that point, we learn, we find a way. That's the human way, isn't it? We evolve our methods to make it work. And Guru Maharaj used to congratulate his Sikhs for saying that. He said, don't be embarrassed that I'm glad that you've said that because you want that to happen. And you value it so highly that that's why it's so important to you. So in our own lives, Yeah, when we do our Banjwani in the morning, yes, sometimes we are going to get frustrated, but try and resist it, try and work with it, not against it.
Okay, so the answer then is that how should we listen? Savdan ikagarjeet. So you try and block out all those things, but that's probably a topic for a different time. But I think we probably will talk about man and the shabs that talk about man. Okay, in terms of going through the Pauri now then, we'll probably do 2, yeah? And then we'll listen to a shab that probably reinforces what we've spoken about, yeah? Okay. So the Pauri, the first Pauri, the 8th Pauri starts off, yeah? Sune Siddh Peer Surnal. Now be honest, how many of you have read that Pauri and you think, or that line and thought, what does it mean? So I'm going to ask you. You'll think, what does that line mean? To you, don't bother about what it says in the blue. When you just read it, what do you think it means?
Sonia said is like teachers, and then B is teachers, and then I don't know the son.
That's really good. Yeah. That's what it is. But it is. Now, do you remember all the way back when we did the beginning part? You did it yesterday at Sesame Street. The beginning part, the introduction to Japji Sahib. And you thought, why are these guys taking so long doing this? Because we talked about people like Siddh. Siddh ki hunde, Peer ki hunde, Nath ki hunde. Because these are statuses, they're not necessarily a person. Now, Maharaj is saying that Bani and listening to Bani is so important that it gives you the ability or the elements that these people have got in their lives, you have them in your lives. Now, the Siddhs, as you remember, were those people that sat in the mountains up in the Samir Parbat, yeah? And they were spiritually very high people. But what they had done was to renounce the world. They thought the world was evil. They didn't want to get married. They didn't want to have children. They didn't want to be involved in the world. They wanted to be away from it. They wanted to hold their breaths and meditate and extend their lives by using that technique to hold their breath. But what they did achieve by doing that was had these supernatural powers, which are called Riddhinga Siddhinga. And there's 18 of them that are recognised as existing. But Guruji says that listening to Naam is above Riddhinga Siddhinga. It's beyond that. Because by Naam se Sune Siddh, you become like a Siddh. You have what the Siddhs have. Everything the Siddhs have been looking for, Tanu Naam Bichom Mil Jana. So Sune Siddh. Or the Siddhs have got what they've got, here's another translation, through Naam Son Naam. Sune Siddh. Peer. Peer ki hunde, I think you said teacher. Peer in particular is a word used in Islam for their religious teachers. Somebody who is spiritually very high in the Islamic world is known as Peer. So when Guru Nanak Dev Ji went to Baghdad, they met Peer Dastagir. Peer Buttu Shah was a follower of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Yeah? And Peer Buddan Shah was a person that existed from the time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji all the way up to the time of Guru Hargobind Ji. Yeah? Peer Khan Shah. Yeah? Peer in the Islamic world is a religious person. And Guruji says that Naam Sonde Naam Sune Siddh Peer, you become a Siddh and Peer. Sur. 14th Pauri of Anand Sahib, Sur Nar Monajan Amrit Khojde.
So we often use the word surma in everyday language, don't we? There are all such and such a surma that is very brave, and often we refer to that bravery as being associated as somebody who's a fighting individual, a soldier of some sort. But in this context, Maharaj often uses Sur as somebody that they've conquered their mind and they've become heroes because of it. So it's not just necessarily in a fighting sense, surma. Surma will be those ones that have actually conquered their minds, because by doing that, they've conquered the most hardest and the most difficult task that's actually possible for a human being.
Yeah. The Sur also refers to angelic people, yeah, people that are angelic in like Devte, yeah. So in Hinduism, there's believed to be something like 33 demigods, yeah. And Guruji says that by listening to Naam, that you become a Siddh, you become a Peer, you become a Surma, you become a Sur or angelic or a Devta, yeah. Nath. Okay, Nath. What does Nath mean? Aap Nath Nathi sab jaake jis tavra saath. You heard it a lot of times. Nath. Okay.
You can see the last word on the translation. I'll tell you what an art is. Kanji. Yeah. So within the Jogi Sige, said Sige, they would have a hierarchy, and the highest within their sort of rank was a Nat. They were the masters of the masters. So this is what Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying, that Sonam, by listening, you actually achieve the status that a Nat has. And when we read the Janam Sakya of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, you know, you come across so and so Bunga Nath that Guru Nanak Dev Ji comes across, other Naths that were of a very high status, of a high level.
Yeah. The leader of the Siddhs was Gorakhnath. Yeah. So a Nath is somebody who's conquered them. So we come back to conquering the mind. A Nath is somebody who's a Malik, who's the owner of something, that has conquered something. So somebody who's conquered their mind was called a Nath. Now some people call themselves Maliks because they own lots of things. And what they own is called their Malkiyat. Yeah, it's their possession. But they have lots of possessions, but they have no control over their minds. So Guruji says you become a Nath, but you do control your mind. But Bani suni chalo, suni chalo, suni chalo. And eventually you'll start to man it. Yeah? Sune Siddh Pir Suranath. So when you read this line now, you can say that if we continue to read Bani, Sondenal, Sune Siddh Pir Suranath. Got that? So next time when I said what's a Siddh, what's a Pir, what's a Suran, what's a Nath, you all know. ठीक Any questions? Okay. Sune Tart Taval Akas. Start with the easy. Tarti.
What's Tarti?
Hanji. Earth. Good. Okay. Akas. I saw it last thing you got hand up. It's what? Cosmic ethers. Have you been there? All do there.
I want to.
You need a spacesuit as well.
You need a spacesuit to get there. It's all that cosmic, the universe
It's
and beyond.
space.
It's space, yeah. Double, a gas. Okay, it's an interesting one. Yeah. So now, double a gas.
Yeah.
No.
So often Guru Nanak Dev Ji is using examples that people will be familiar with. Now, they're not necessarily examples that we're familiar with today, because some of the language that Maharaj uses isn't in common currency, and some of the concepts aren't in current currency either. So one of the ideas within Hindu mythology was that the earth is balanced on a bull's seng, on their horns. Had two horns, and it's a particular white bull, and when it gets tied with one seng, it switches over the world onto the other seng, and that's what their common belief was. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji is, in a few words, Maharaj is saying that no big deal. This whole idea of the earth being balanced on a seng, on a horn, nonsense. Because Maharaj is saying that it's Nam that is actually balancing everything. It's Nam that is the true essence. And within a few words, Maharaj has actually said that.
Yeah. So by listening to Nam, do you remember we did the program on creation? And then when we did the program on creation, you start to dive further into Bani. And as you listen to that Bani, your mind opens up. Now, we only came back from India a couple of weeks ago, and boy, do they believe anything that you tell them out there. And because you know what, we did the program yesterday, we told the kids yesterday, the reason why Guru Nanak Dev Ji had to come to this world was that the religious teachers of the time had stopped teaching religion. They were in it to make money. They were in it to be in power. And the Siddhs had left the world. And Guruji's saying was that you need to teach the people. So let me tell them about creation. Yeah, because you're going to tell them what you want to tell them. So this myth of a bull supporting the earth has been going on for centuries. It's not true, and it doesn't exist. We're not here to hurt anybody's feelings, yeah? But Guruji says, when you listen to Nam, you will become to learn that you'll start to learn about the solar system. You'll know about these things. Now, last program we talked about, or 2 programs ago, we talked about Bhakt Pipa. And Bhakt Pipa says, Jo Brahmande So Pinde. That whatever is in the universe is inside you. Well, what school did Bhakt Pipa go to? Which scientific laboratory in NASA did he go to know that? Because he's a Bhakt. He listened to them. Because the Bhakts know about how these things work. Yeah? And the bit about the bull. Now, in Sukhmani Sahib, and once again trying to use examples that are close to us, in Sukhmani Sahib, Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, I'll tell you what supports everything. Naam supports everything. Naam ke tare sagle jant. All the G jants that exist, they're supported by Naam. Naam ke tare khand brahmand. So there we are. The universes, the earth, the solar systems are supported by Naam. The scientists might call this gravity, but Maharaj calls it the Shakti of Naam. Naam ke tare simat ved Quran. All those scriptures that other religions believe in, Naam is the support of those. Naam ke tare sunan gyan pyar. The name is the support by which we hear a spiritual wisdom. Naam vich sab kuch manna. That's why the Sunaya Pauriyan are so important. Naam ke tare agas patar. So those cosmic ethers and those regions that scientists haven't even discovered, the Bhakts know about, but they're all supported by Naam. Naam ke tare sagal akar. All the beings are supported and the bodies are supported by Naam. Naam ke tare puriyan sab pavan. All the realms of the gods, etc., are supported by Naam. Naam ke sang udre sun sarv. Yeah? By listening to Naam, guess what? You become saved. Because it will give you liberation. Kar kirpa jas apne naam lae. Nanak chauthe pad mein so jan gat paye. Yeah? Do you remember we talked about the 3 states of Maya? When you become outside Maya, you become into the 4th state, which is outside Maya. So by listening to the Naam, yeah? So when Kal Kirpa jas apne naam lae, yeah? Nanak chauthe pad mein so jan gat paye. That you will become into the 4th state outside the 3 states. So that body, so those lines there, that what you become to learn, Sunaya Tartatal Akas. Sunaya Deep Lo Patar. Okay. Deep, low and patar. How deep are the oceans? Yeah. What worlds exist beyond this world? And other patala. So Guru Nanak says, Patala, Patala, Kagasa, Agas. So when Guruji met the Bhakt at Baghdad, he said there's 14 worlds. And Guru Nanak said, why do you say there's 14 worlds? He said, that's what the Prophet Muhammad has told us. He said there's 7 worlds above and 7 below. And Guruji said there's more than that. And Bhakt Dastagir says, prove it to me. So Guruji says to Bhakt Dastagir's son, you send him with me, close your eyes, and I will show you how much Khan Brahman there is, and how many Patala there are. And Guruji then takes Bir Dastagir's son, and takes him to all the worlds that exist, to the point where the Bir's son says, I can't see anymore. Yeah? So, those that are merged with Vaheguru know that God's extent is beyond what we understand. So when you read this line, Sunaya Deep Lo Patar, it's about how big the universe is. You know, we say how big Vaheguru is, but these, by listening to the Naam, we become to believe and know that the world and the universe is much bigger than we think. Sunaya Pohe Na Sakke Kaal. What's Kaal? It's on there. Hanji. Death. Yeah. So Vaheguru is Akal. By listening to the name of Vaheguru, of listening to the name, Sunaya Pohe Na Sakke Kaal. Now last month we said, when we talked about where man has a desire to live forever, he has an equally strong fear of death. Equally strong fear of death. Man is petrified of death. Yeah? But those that listen to Naam, Sunaya Pohe Na Sakke Kaal. Pohe means to sort of like touch past you. Jiri maat ya, jiri kaal ya, It can't even touch you.
So that doesn't mean that you're not going to die. What it tells you is that your fear of dying is what's conquered. Because often the fear of something is worse than the actual reality of it. So often we're scared of things that we don't know about because we've never experienced it before. So Maharaj is saying is that by listening to Naam, those types of fears, or the ultimate fear that we have about dying, becomes irrelevant. And then we go back to what we talked about, is that, it's in Sadavigas. Why? Because things like death, things like pain, don't touch them, they don't concern them, they're not part of what their everyday thought patterns are.
Because if you remember, Vaheguru is nirbhau, is without fear. So those that listen to the name of Vaheguru, they also become nirbhau as well. So they don't have fear anymore. Yeah, as Padre Kabir Ji, when we talked about last month, said, yeah, Jis marne ke jag dare mere man anand. I do not fear death anymore. Okay, so that's, and then the body finishes off by Nanak Bhagtan Sada Vigas Sune Dukh Paap Ka Nas. To remind us. Oops.
Transition. Economic.
Okay. So the next body starts how? All together? Okay. Who's Isar? Who's Brahma? Who's him?
So going back to this, to what we said a few minutes ago, that Guru Nanak Dev Ji uses examples that people will be familiar with, and each of these deities that are mentioned, these demigods that are mentioned, had a particular quality or had particular virtues that people would be familiar with. So we'll take Brahma as the first, and Brahma is a deity that is associated with philosophy, with knowledge, with knowing, because Brahma spent the entirety of his life trying to understand the creation of Vaheguru. He spent his whole life doing it. His family got involved in it as well, to the extent where, I think we mentioned this when we talked about Brahma before, we said that towards the latter days of Brahma, his view was that whilst he'd learned a lot, his knowledge, as far as he was concerned, was a bit like taking a spoon into the ocean. And that's about as much as he felt that he'd learned. So Brahma is known as the philosopher, as the one that people aspire to, that if you want knowledge, you associate that knowledge with Brahma. And often people would diag Brahma before they started a particular project where they would need to learn something. Okay, so that's where Brahma comes into it. Now, what Maharaj is saying is that the equivalence of Brahma's knowledge becomes your knowledge by listening to Naam.
What they're saying is that anybody did a Naam Japda will always be spiritually intellectual. So your intellect will be very high when you listen to Naam. Sunaya Isar Brahma, so you become like Brahma in your intellect. And then when you become Brahma, your intellect is high, like Brahma's intellect was high.
Ishwar, or Shiva, is associated with somebody that had renounced the world. He's become a Tyagi, somebody that contemplated death almost all of the time. So that state of mind of being reflective, what Maharaj is saying is that you too can achieve that state of mind through Naam. Not necessarily become reflective on death all of the time, but be reflective of your mortality. That yes, we are finite, yeah, we are here for a short time. And that's the quality that Guru Maharaj is saying that Naam gives you as well. And then the third example, it's Indra. Indra is associated with enjoyment. And Guru Maharaj is saying that Indra is, as I say, associated with how to enjoy, how to take the ras of something, the true ras of something, how to do it in a controlled way. And Guru Maharaj is saying is that Naam gives you that potential to take ras from everything that's around you without actually exploiting it, without actually it becoming dominant, the dominant feature in your life, doing it in a controlled way.
Yeah, so often we live in this world and we can't be totally renouncing of the world because we need to live in it. We need to enjoy things out of life, but equally we don't want to become controlled by Maya that we can't think for ourselves anymore. So what Maharaj is saying is here, Sunya Isar Brahma Ind. So like Indra, who was known as the of heaven, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was in Hindu mythology. He's believed to be the head, like they have in the other mythologies, the head god. Yeah. And Indra knew how to enjoy that because he was in a kingly, in a superior position. Yeah. So like what Maharaj is saying, you become superior like Indra, you become intellectual like Brahma. Yeah. Did you mention Vishnu?
Yeah, and ultimately Vishnu is another deity that's associated in Hindu mythology, and Vishnu is seen as the compassionate deity, and Maharaj is saying that you will have the compassionate qualities as well. Now, Bhagat Kabirji talks about some of these qualities as well, and to the point where Bhagat Kabirji talks about how people that have become one with Naam, have listened to Naam, have now become the consumers of what he called makhan. The ras that they get is the equivalent of makhan. Does anybody know what makhan is? Anji? Yeah, it's a form of butter. It's like it's seen as a luxurious product, something that people say, you know, in makhan kage paye, that they've had a good diet. Whereas Bhagat Kabirji says that people that aren't imbued in Naam, they just drink mere lassi. Lassi ki hundi? Andy?
Is it they mix with water?
Yeah. So it's quite a lot, sort of tepid type of drink. So it's like watered down tea basically. It's like a poor man's drink.
So I have it all the time.
Yeah. So Bhagat Kabirji is making this distinction that jere ras kadlan de naam de vichoo, they enjoy makhan. Those ones that bypass it, they just have lassi kha ke guzara karte apna.
And you definitely want you would definitely want makhan on your parothe, not lassi. Agree? Yeah. I think Dujal has makhan on his always the best way. Okay. Sunaya Isar Burma in. So the point here is that there's a sansari ras, a worldly ras, yeah, an enjoyment of the world and an enjoyment of Naam. Yeah. Okay. The next stop, Sunaya Mukh Salahan Mand.
So mand ki hunda, what's mand?
What's a manda person? What's a changa person? Oh, we all know the Hanji.
A good person.
What's a manda person?
A fool.
Yeah, a bad person. Yeah. Ek changa hunda, ek manda hunda.
Yeah. So something that's manda is dirty. It's polluted. Something that you don't want to be associated with. So Guru Maharaj is saying that even people who are deemed to be mande, by listening to Naam, this is this transformational quality that Naam has, is that even they become praises of Waheguru. Even their lives become turned around. And we see examples in Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Janam Sakya. Guru Maharaj comes across some pretty dodgy people, you might say. Sajjan Thug. Sajjan Thug had done nothing good in his life other than slit people's throats under the pretense that he was a good person. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, with a few choice words, transforms his life, turns his life around completely, where he becomes a true sajjan, a true friend. So that is the power of Naam. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying that even the most lowly person, or somebody that's deemed to be lowly through their actions, can become a high person just through Naam.
Yeah. Like in the last body we said, okay, that Nanak nirgun gun kare gunwante agunde. those people that have no gun, that might be low, yeah, Maharaj even blesses with them once they start listening to Naam and understanding Naam. So Sunay Mukh Salahan Mand. Sunay Jog Jugat Tan Ped. Okay. Now, we talked about the siddhs and yogic practices. Now, there's different types of yoga now. But yog means to unite, to come together. And that's what yogi were. They used a practice called yoga to say they were merging with God. So jog, sanjog vijog, the jog bit now talks about separation and coming together. Yeah. So sunay jog jugat. A jugti is a methodology, is a method. Yeah. And by listening to Naam, Maharaj is saying is that tusi Naam sonke, you don't have to go through these practices of yoga to get to merge with Waheguru. Sunaya Jog Jugt, Tanu Jugting out, the methodology and the techniques you will learn just by worshipping Naam, by simulating Naam. So Sunaya Jog Jugat. And then Tan Pe.
So the Tan Pe bit of it is, in old times, there are Rishi Munis, they get people that had aspired to Waheguru Simran. They had a very deep and meaningful understanding of how the body worked. So a lot of the area where the dwaiyan getting implementing ajkal, those were discovered at a time through their bhakti. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj is saying that type of knowledge, this inner workings of our body or knowledge of those workings can become apparent to us. You know, what should we eat that supports our bodies in the best way? What should we eat and drink that supports our minds in the best way? And Guru Maharaj is saying that the function of Naam gives you that as well. By repeating Naam, listening to Naam, your understanding of your own body becomes greater. Now, fundamentally, when you listen and read Japji Sahib, and you start doing the Katha of Japji Sahib, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is really trying to explain to people that your dependence on others, other than your Guru, diminishes or should diminish. So all of these ideas, these skills that you think other people have, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying that I want to give you those. I want you to become independent. Yeah, we've often said that at the time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the religious people of the time had this monopoly on Dharma, had a monopoly on religion, to the point where the rank and file person, you know, the normal person, had no idea, had no knowledge. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji is liberating us. Guru Nanak Dev Ji explaining to us that you don't need to go to a Pandit to understand how this works or how that works. You don't have to go to a Maulvi to understand the verses of the Quran. Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying that you, by listening to Naam, listening to Bani, can become independent. You can become your own person. Yeah, not dependent, not a slave, spiritually or physically.
Yeah, and the religious people of the past, the Rishi Munis, who actually started some of this, you know, some of the Vedic medicines of today, even the medicines today, are based on some of the holy people's recipes. Yeah, so a lot of the dwanga today, what they call desi dwanga, you know, the medicines that you still get in the villages, were based on people's knowledge of these religious texts. And those people that were spiritually high had these abilities. But Maharaj is saying that the secret of your own body. Yeah? That's why Gurmukhs, their bodies are perfect. Because everything they do. Why do we have a code of conduct? Don't smoke that, don't do that, don't do that. We know, because Maharaj knows that Vani the Vichya, what thing is good for us and what is bad for us.
So we talk about Guru Nanak Dev Ji's mission about liberating us is then fulfilled by Guru Gobind Singh Ji by creating the Khalsa. To the point where Guru Maharaj, when he creates the Khalsa, is then saying that you are now Jagrat, you are now awakened, you don't need to be reliant on anybody now. That you are now self-reliant. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj then takes the decision then to leave physically this world. Because Guruji thinks and believes that the Sikhs of the time are now able to understand what they need to do and how to become that independent person Guru Nanak Dev Ji had sort of envisioned all those years ago.
Yeah, so we talked about the planets. Often Bhagavad Kabir will talk about there's this many suns and there's this many planets. And the people at the time would challenge him and say, how do you know? And likewise, Bhagavad Nam Dev Ji has written Bani where he says that within my body there are 72 main veins that carry blood. Now Bhagavad Nam Dev Ji was no scientist. But how does Bhagavad Kabir Ji know that there's many suns? Today scientists will say there are suns beyond this. We have a sun for our solar system, and in other solar systems there's other suns. Now, how do the Bhagavats know this? Yeah? How does Bhagavad Nam Dev Ji know the intricate workings of the human system of how the blood is carried? Yeah? How many veins are, how many sub-arteries there are? Why? And it's in their Bani. Why? Because Sunaya Jog Tan Ped. But those that listen to Nam, become one with Vaheguru, learn these things. ठीक है सुने शास्त्र समृद्ध वेद. Okay. The Shastras and the Simritiya and the Ved. Once again, Maharaj using examples of the time. So there are how many Simritiya, how many Shastras, how many Veds? There's 4 Veds. How many Shastras are there? Is it 52 and 6 cemeteries? I can't remember. It's 52 cemeteries. Anyway, there's a number of holy books in Hinduism, and they all have knowledge in them. And Maharaj is saying that you don't need to read those. Because ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਾਮ ਸੁਣ ਕੇ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਸ਼ਾਸਤਰ ਸਿਮਰਤ ਵੇਦ. All the knowledge in the Shastras, all the knowledge in the Simritiya, and all the knowledge in the Ved are available to you through Naam. The Naam Japo. Yeah? ਸੁਣਿਆ ਸ਼ਾਸਤਰ ਸਿਮਰਤ ਵੇਦ. ਨਾਨਕ ਭਗਤਾਂ ਸਦਾ ਵਿਗਾਸ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਦੂਰ ਪਾਪ ਕਾ ਨਾਸ. 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, good recap.
We'll do a recap. Any questions? We'll move on. Was that hard? Was it okay? You'll tell me. Was that hard? Fatigue? Is that a teague? Okay. Yeah. Because because we don't mind doing it again. That's why we only did 2 Pauri on Sunaya. Because until you understand what the Najor is, what the central theme is. The central theme here is Naam Suno. Sonke, you get all these things. Sonke, the 2 main things is the Paab, the Dok will go away. Now, Sun is the first step, the Manana is the second step. So we'll have a look at that. I was going to play something, but probably haven't got time. So, in summary, you want to start summary? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll ask some questions. It's always a good test of summary.
Back to the beginning, shall we?
I'll ask this question. What supports the earth? Angie?
I mean, not a myth or
I don't know.
Now, what do
you believe?
oh, right.
The world according to Maskeen for. Go on.
Right.
Vaheguru. You believe in Vaheguru. So how is the world supported?
Because right was given.
Vaheguru's laws, yeah. The Naam supports. Naam ke tare sagle jant, Naam ke tare khand brahmand. That Naam supports everything. So what's the other theory? How does the ball support the earth according to that theory? Where's the earth? On its horn. Yeah. So what happens when he gets tired on that horn? Chucks it over to the other horn. And that causes earthquakes and other natural disasters. I see that in. Anyway. But that was the theory and that's what people believed. Yeah. But Guruji is making it very clear. Okay. God's laws, God's mriada, yeah, how the earth spins and how the orbits happen, only God knows, only Vaheguru knows. He created this from one sound, Om, and then the whole Brahman is created, yeah? So, that's that question.
Shall we talk about elements?
Elements.
So, how many elements are there? And 5.
Andy, how's the first one? Fire. Jyot Singh.
Water.
Chemical. Air. Prahlad Singh. Twice.
It's a lot of air, that is.
That's a lot of air. Yeah. Andy?
Ether.
Ether. Or ek reh gaya?
Oh.
Yeah. Ho gaya panch? I believe ho gaya. Yeah. Somebody's got a 6th one. Actually, there's no 6th element, and there's a shop that says that nobody can produce a 6th element. As clever as the scientists are. Yeah. Well, nobody can make a shame on that. How many boardinga are there on Sunday? How many Monday boardinga are there?
4.
Okay. In the Sunday boardinga, what are the last 2 lines? All together? That wasn't everybody. It says what?
So, what is Vagas?
Regards. Glossary number 2. Joyful, blissful.
So,
Sada means. So are the bugs happy on a Monday, not so happy on a Tuesday?
what's the hell on Thursday?
Sada Vigas. Yeah. Nanak Bhagwan Sada Vigas. Why? Because. All together. Sunay.
So, why is there Bob and Doc? Why has it become Nas for them? Sidak, can you tell us? They do Nam, okay, yeah. But also, how do they conduct their lives? How do they live their lives?
What don't they do? And
They don't inflict pain on
they
others.
don't inflict pain. So they don't do barb. And those people that do cause barb and do dock on others, what happens to them? What do they get back in return? They get duck back in return. Okay. What sort of duck? How many different types of duck are there? We didn't cover this off, but I'm just asking. And I don't mean stomachache, headache, footache, a football injury. What sort of duck are there?
So mental and physical.
And you-
Mental and physical.
The mental and physical. Okay, of the mental one, did you know that Maharaj says that the biggest dock is a separation from Vaheguru? Because it leads us to being born and dying and born and dying and born. That's the biggest dock. Bok is another dock, yeah? And pain, physical, is a dock. But there's lots of different docks. But why this? It means all dock, yeah? Nanak Bhagwan Sada Vigasa Sunay Du Bhakana. Bugs do not suffer any of this. What rasa do bugs enjoy versus the rest of the world as a comparison in that example? Anji? Makhan and lassi. Okay? Makhan and lassi. So, listening to Naam gives you ras.
Do the next class.
Yeah. Siddh, Pir, Sur and Nath. What are those for?
Sidki and the
Anji? The Siddhs, yeah. The Yogis, yeah. Anji, Pir,
Like spiritual teacher.
Sur
Warriors.
and the Nath.
Masters.
Anji? The Masters, yeah. Like in Star Wars, it's like the Master Jedi, the Nath. Yeah. Okay. Cheek, yeah? Next, what we'll do next time round is we'll have a little think about it. I think what we'll probably do is do the other 2 boardinga in the Sunday boardinga, and then we'll do a little bit on Mon before we do the Monday boardinga.
yeah.
Yeah? Which means we have to do some research, but there you go. Nothing like a challenge. Next class I'll find while you talk about something else.
So the next